Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Good Minutes. I'm Tom Blefko. Well, Zillow bought ShowingTime last week for $500 million. Now, I got to tell you, when that happened, it caused me to pause a little bit and just kind of think through what that actually means to our industry. And then I gave it a day or two, and then I started reading blog posts and news service, and I started seeing things on YouTube and listening to people. And I got to tell you, by and large, the vast majority of the reaction within the real estate business is absolutely negative. 75 to 80% of the comments, people are jumping off bridges, all because Zillow has their data. Well, I think you ought to pause just a little bit, take a deep breath, and just think about what actually did happen. I came up with 7 things that you as a real estate agent should be aware of about this acquisition or potential acquisition, and I'll talk about that in a second. The very first thing that you need to understand is there's existing privacy policies in place and data security efforts that are already written into contracts. So even if this transaction goes through and Zillow ends up owning ShowingTime, they can't violate those things. Now, I know a lot of people out there say, hey, Zillow's going to violate whatever they want to, but I'm not quite sure that Zillow is going to risk their $500 million transaction on stealing data from a real estate agent in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I just don't think that's going to happen. Number 2, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you. Zillow already controls your data. And if you don't think that, then you're sticking your head in the sand. Here's what I mean. Most buyers, most sellers get online before they contact a real estate agent, even one that they know. They get online and they do a little bit of investigating themselves. And where do you think they go first? They go to the most popular website, real estate website in the world, which is Zillow. What do they do when they get on Zillow? They register for an account. Yes, that's right. Their name, their email address, everything is given to Zillow. Zillow has what they're searching for. They already have your database. In addition, you as an agent, I'm sure many of you say after a transaction is completed, please go online, go on Zillow, and please, give me a positive review. Guess what they have to do before they can do that review? That's right. They got to register with Zillow with a valid email address. I'm telling you, Zillow already has your data. That's not the most important thing here. Number 3, consumers do business not with data. They do business with real estate agents because we can guide them through a transaction. Over 50% of the buyers out there, they turn to a real estate agent that they either know or was referred to them. And this comes from a study that NAR just gave. In addition, over 66%, it's about 2/3, of sellers go to real estate agents that they either already know or they were referred to by a friend or a neighbor. So people need us. While the data is important, it's not the know-all, end-all. So be aware of that. Number 4, we do more than just collect data. Yeah, you should have a database. It should be up to date. You should have lots of things in there, kids' names and anniversaries, and you should have all that good stuff in your database. However, what they pay us for, what they use us for, is what's up here. Understand that. We give them the price that they can get for their home. Now, they can try to get it on their own through Zestimates or something else, but you and I both know that a real estate agent who does a comprehensive CMA offers so much more. We provide them advice on how to fix up their home to get top dollar. We guide them through the paperwork that they need to get the transaction to the settlement table. Not only that, but there's all kinds of forms that they need to fill out to remain compliant in the various states in which they are trying to sell a property in. So there's more to a real estate transaction than just the flat data. Number 5, this transaction's not done yet. It's got to be vetted by the federal government with all their lawyers, the antitrust people. They are going to look at this with a fine-tooth comb. If you think this is going to take place overnight, once again, I think you're in dream world. This is going to take a little bit of time. So the federal government's going to look at that, look at this transaction to make sure everything is hunky-dory. During the interim, if you are absolutely on board with saying, I don't want to use something that Zillow owns, you're going to have plenty of time to investigate that. Which brings me to point number 6. I believe this is going to spur on tons of innovation in our business, as if there's no innovation already. Companies like CoStar, who just purchased HomeSnap a couple of months ago, they had already been working on a showing app to go inside of HomeSnap. They have just come out and said they are accelerating that time frame. So they're already working on something. In addition, there's already other calendars out there that you can use to go ahead and set up showings. This is not something that we're in a vacuum here. There are other programs out there that you can actually use, which brings me to my final point. I'm not on the Bright MLS board, which is our MLS, but they are looking at this. There is no question. There's some smart people on the Bright MLS board. They know that the vast majority of their subscribers are using ShowingTime, and now ShowingTime is potentially owned by Zillow, which a lot of people are uncomfortable with Zillow. So do you think the Bright MLS board is going to sit on their hands? I believe, this is just conjecture on my part, that they are going to offer a second type of showing type service. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But I believe within the next 30 days, we're going to have some alternatives. But once again, that's just my opinion. So what does this mean for real estate agents and brokerages? I got to tell you guys, what you have, Zillow can't produce. And that's up here. How you guide people through transactions, buyers and sellers. What this should be a signal to you, though, is you have to up your game. You have to remain on the cutting edge of what's happening in the real estate business. The days of doing 1 or 2 transactions a year and understanding what's going on, those days are almost gone. You need to be the best you can be. Now, I got to tell you, this was purely coincidental. This past week, on my personal Facebook page, I put a brand new header there. It was actually before this acquisition occurred. And it said, be so good that they can't ignore you. This was put out there by the famous comedian Steve Martin. And I got to tell you, you need to be as good as you've ever been in the real estate business to continue to do business. Please get out there. Make sure you're the best that you can be. Become indispensable with your clients, buyers, and sellers. Until next week, all the best.